Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
I really have no approach. I know nothing about what to do, how to handle this situation that will be coming in the future.
Okay.
My parent, they have roughly $700,000 in the bank, no debt, a 10-acre farm, and a house.
Mm-hmm.
I am the only biological child to my father. My brother and sister are stepchildren to him.
Mm-hmm.
They're, upon conversation with my dad, there is no plan in place of how the money will be dispensed, or the farm, the house, other than my father says, well, when I leave this world, the assets, the money, everything, it'll go to your mom. She can do whatever she wants with it. And then when she leaves the world, it goes to you, Garrett. The home and the farm are deeded to me. They have I think they can live there while they're alive, but then when they pass, it's mine. But
when did they do that?
It's been about 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this whole situation makes me very uneasy. It's a lot of money, and I just don't want a sibling rivalry.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't know what to do.
So were your stepbrother and sister raised by your father?
Yes, sir, they were, but it was not a good situation.
What's that mean?
Well, my father's an alcoholic, and it was a very abusive home for them and myself. And my father, unfortunately, is more inclined to give me more than them. Mm-hmm. I don't like that, but I know that that's where his heart's at because he's told me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, if he leaves it all to your mother, he no longer has a choice in it. She can do what she wants.
Yeah.
Because she would have a will that dictated what happened to her assets. We're pretty sure he's going to die first, it sounds like.
Yeah, he's older and not in good health at all.
Yeah. Well, the drinking and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because I know that my dad doesn't have a will. Mm-hmm. I know that my mother doesn't have a will, which to me is kind of alarming.
It is alarming. And it puts you in a bad position. But it doesn't sound like your dad is the type that cares if he leaves you in a bad position.
He doesn't see that. He doesn't see that it put me in a bad spot.
Yeah. So if you went down and sat down with him in person, had a cup of coffee, and said, Dad, look, this is not good. I'm not good with this. I need you to do a will. I need Mom to do a will because you're going to leave me being the bad guy in this, and I don't want to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
These people are going to end up mad at me, and I don't want that to happen. And once you get the will done, you need to tell everybody what the will says.
Okay.
So if they want to be mad at him or they want to be hurt by him or your mom or whatever else, that's fine.
Yeah.
Now, so the truth is that if he just does a will and leaves it to your mom and your mom does a will and puts it 3 ways, anything you can do about it.
Yeah. Okay.
If that's what she wants to do. But who the Lord knows what these people are going to do, right? So the proper way to do this is for both of them to have a will, and the will says that 100% goes to my spouse if I die, 100% goes to the other spouse if I die. So, and then if we both die or upon the death of both of us, here's how it's going to be divided up. It's called a mirror image will. Their wills are identical. We just switch the names out.
Okay.
It all goes to my spouse, all goes to my spouse. If we both die, or when we both die, it all goes this way. And they can lay that out. It's not super expensive. You can go to mamabearlegalforms.com. You can help them do it. But it's just going to, the problem is it's going to make him face your mother, and he doesn't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if you're going to be able to pull this off relationally or not. But the answer to your question is the proper way to do this would be to lay it all out and then meet with the other two and tell them here's what the will says, and have a reading of the will while everybody's alive.
Okay.
And then you don't have all the people mad and trying to contest a will, and they're angry at you like you did something, because you're not allowed, if you're left as the executor of the estate, you're not allowed to do anything except what the will says, regardless of if you like it or not.
Yeah. Executor estate. Okay.
Yeah. So the executor is the one who conducts the business of the will after a person passes away. You follow me? So if
Yes,
your
sir.
dad said sell the farm, well, the farm's already gone. It's in your name.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Which may be a huge tax problem, but that's a side issue.
Oh boy.
But because you now have a basis in the farm of what they paid for it, which is little or nothing. So when you sell it, you're going to have 100% gain just about.
Gotcha.
So putting it in your name early was really dumb on their part.
Gotcha.
They did not do you any favors. So they probably cost you whatever the farm is worth times 15%. Whenever you do sell it someday. Anyway, so laying it all out and everyone being in agreement ahead of time is the proper thing to do. But that requires a level of family, for the family to be somewhat functional, not dysfunctional. And I don't know that your dad's going to do all this, but it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. And what are his other options on that deeded property? Because he said the farm and the house, I believe. So what does he do in that situation? Is he just pretty much stuck with it, or can that be unwrapped?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's 4 years old. You'd have to see an attorney and
Right.
get it done. I'm not positive, but folks, let me walk this through because some of you have heard it before if you've listened to the show for a while, but it's worth covering for the rest of you. This is 2 of these calls we've gotten this hour.
That's correct.
Where people just freaking move stuff around and don't act like there's any consequences. Okay, to start with, when dad deeds the farm to his son, dad is subject to gift tax of 55% of the value of the farm. You can't just deed stuff to people. Well, it's my son. I don't care. You have voted people into office who have promised to tax you into oblivion, and they're good at it. And so there's tax law in place that's going to take your freaking head off if you start just handing people assets. You cannot do this without getting good professional help, a good tax attorney or whatever. So let's pretend that dad bought this farm in 1960 or something, whatever the flip, I don't know. And he paid almost nothing for it. When you transfer an asset prior to death, whether it's a share of stock, a piece of real estate, you transfer it prior to death, you move what you paid for it as the basis over to the person who got it. Yep. So now our friend Garrett, when he gets ready to sell the farm, it's as if he paid $13,000 for it and he's going to sell it for $1 million. And he's going to pay taxes on $1 million. Capital gains tax. Because it was transferred prior to death. If instead dad had left the farm in a will to be given to Garrett upon his death, Garrett's basis for tax gain would be the value of the farm at the time of death. We're using $1 million as an example. Let's say this farm is worth $1 million today. Now Garrett's basis is $1 million if dad dies this year. And if he sells it, he only pays taxes. If he sells it within 6 months, he pays 0 tax.
Yep. Wow.
Because it's presumed to have been sold at market value. If he sells it after 6 months, 3 or 4 years from now, he only pays taxes on the amount over $1 million that he gets for it. So this discussion, if this farm's worth $1 million, and if he bought it many, many, many years ago, is probably a $150,000, $200,000 mistake that dad has made here. That Garrett's going to end up giving the government when he sells his farm someday $150,000 to $200,000 too much that he didn't have to do because his father was too big a goober to get a good lawyer to set this stuff up. Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.